Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Strange Normal. My name is Bradley, and we talk about the stranger things that happen in your normal life to give you a biblical understanding of what is going on, because that's needed today, and it's desperately needed because we got a lot happening, a lot the mainstream media isn't reporting on, and partly because of a good reason and partly not. So we're going to dive straight into that tonight. Tonight we got some interesting stuff. We're going to talk about the news and what has happened in this last week. We're also going to talk about some strange things that have happened in Miami and what the truth is behind that. And then we're going to dig into something that's very fascinating because it is the absolute truth beyond what is happening in Miami right now. And we're going to follow full straight into that. Let me tell you right now, the reason why we started a little bit late, we had a little bit of technical difficulty. Thank you for hanging out. Why is the intro so long? I saw that in the chat. It's to get everyone caught up on what is going on here and allow people to join the live stream. That's primarily the case. Now, majority of people watch afterward and they skip that intro, and it actually hurts the channel. So that intro might change a little bit someday, where we might do an trailer that you can watch on your own at the beginning and then do a short intro as it goes into it, because the majority of people don't watch the live stream live. They watch it in the archive. And that's what YouTube is kind of about. It's about what is the on-demand video and how fast can you get the information. So before we completely lose everybody on the track here, and thank you for joining our late session, 161 of you. Wow, I'm going to start late from now on. No, I'm kidding. We're going to jump right into it. Let's jump right into the news, because that's usually what we do first, is see what the news is all about. And see if I can do that here. Audio, main, B-roll. Here we go. Okay. Oh, actually, no, I don't have that lined up. I put something in just before that because I thought it was interesting. Joe Jordan sent me a message. Joe is a good friend of the show. He has this is interesting. Watch this. Let me pull this up here. Cut this over and pull me in. There we go. This is statistics from MUFON. MUFON is the Mutual UFO Network. This is from October. If you can read this, you see down at the bottom, it says total 731 reports out of the United States. And if I can read that, I think it's the United Kingdom too. I'm not exactly sure. I can't read it from the screen. But watch this. If we go to the next one, this is November. If we read that, it's a different number. Let me see if I can zoom in on this real quick, because this is fascinating stuff. Why am I bringing this up? Why is this such a big deal? Well, you'll see in just a second. Whoa! Let me pull this up here. And, nope, I can't zoom in on that. That's too bad. But if you can see, anybody see the numbers in this? All right, let's go to the next one, since I can actually read that one. They're getting smaller. And then this is almost half. Half the numbers. Is it half? Or is this just the United States? Let me try to make this bigger so I can actually read it here. Otherwise, I'm going to have to bring my own documents next time. 293 or something like that for the United States. Something weird's going on here. And it's not usually like this. Usually the number's going up and up and up and up and up and up. And now it's not. So we're going to dive deeper into that some other day, because each month it's getting smaller and smaller. That's never happened before. Why? Why is this happening? Is there a big event that's about to happen that is causing less and less of these things to happen for MUFON? This is for the end of December. This is the last month that we had. Almost half of what it used to be in the last few months. I have no conclusions, but I think that was fascinating. So let me bring it back to me. I don't know what's happening. We're going to find out, though. We know that roughly, and this is something to look into by the occult writings, and Roger Monroe himself said that in the 1700s, roughly every 100 years, the cult, not just the cult like humans, but the actual spiritual realm, the fallen angels, have a giant meeting. That's what he said. And the occult writings say it's somewhere around the 20s. I don't know why that's important. It's not really, but it's just interesting that we're seeing the fall of these numbers in this general month, and then all of a sudden this is a similar number. I don't know. I'm not going to put too much weight on it, but I think that's an interesting number that's happening right now, and we'll see probably pick up here pretty soon again, and it'll get even more strange. So let's get into the news, because I don't want to dwell on that too much, but it is a fascinating topic. So check this out. This is the news. What's happening right now in Congress, what has been spun into motion is this.
Fight for transparency over UFOs taking another step at the federal level. Next week, members of the House Oversight Committee will be called into a classified briefing on UFOs. Now, this is the first time since UAP whistleblower David Grush made his bombshell claims that the intelligence community's Inspector General will meet with House members to now discuss this topic. Correspondent Joe Khalil live for us on Capitol Hill. Joe, no surprise here, some lawmakers are not thrilled with the idea of this being a secret meeting.
Yeah, that's right. And we are able to confirm, Nicole, this is happening Friday next week, that members of Congress, some of them, are going to be getting a classified briefing on UFOs or UAPs, on the phenomenon. Now, this is going to be actually the second one that they're getting on this topic from different people, but second one since October. And just like the last one, this is also going to be in a classified setting. As you mentioned, this is a private room. You got to check your electronics at the door, and nothing that is talked about is supposed to become public. So who is giving this briefing to certain members of Congress? It's Thomas Monheim. He's the intelligence community's Inspector General. What does that mean? That means it's his job to essentially oversee all of the levers of the intelligence community and make sure that everything they're doing is legal, that they're acting appropriately, and that the money they get from Congress is spent in a proper way. Now, David Grush, the whistleblower who came forward on News Nation, whose claims have really sparked a new interest in Congress in this topic, he has said multiple times that he does not think the intelligence community has been operating above board and legally. The center of his allegations are that for decades now, elements within the intel community have been collecting crashed UAPs that he says are of non-human origin, trying to reverse engineer them and hiding that program from Congress. So if you are David Grush and you want to blow the whistle and become a whistleblower, give this information forward, it's very likely that information would have to go through Thomas Monheim and through his office. In fact, David Grush has told us and has publicly said during the congressional hearings that the info that he has, details, he says, are evidence of his claims that he cannot share publicly. He says he has shared that information with Thomas Monheim and with that office. So presumably next week, Monheim could share that information, if this is all true, with members of Congress. Members who were in that briefing, Nicole, can ask Monheim about it. Now, whether they're going to get that information, that is a different question, because we know in October, members of Congress left that briefing really disappointed with what they learned from the Department of Defense Inspector General, telling us that their questions were not answered, that there was not a whole lot of transparency and information given to them. To just refresh everyone's memory, here's what that sounded like from the members who just left that previous briefing.
Frankly, it doesn't seem like it's anything other than what we were told in
yeah, we were actually told that we don't have clearance to learn some certain things.
Really?
So, yeah.
Really?
Again.
Is that in itself telling?
It could be. I don't want to read into it, but obviously, I think a lot of members were very frustrated.
I think at best what they're going to get is an explanation for why the Inspector General determined that Mr. Grush's allegations were credible and urgent. And I think that's very, very important, because a lot of people have said that there's no basis to Mr. Grush's allegations. A lot of people have suggested that it's all unsourced, whereas we know that the Inspector General deposed witnesses. He actually got witnesses to come forward, give evidence. And so that evidence, I think for the first time, there's an opportunity for the members of the committee to actually get to hear what it was that persuaded the Inspector General as to the authenticity and the veracity of Mr. Grush's claims.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. And just to be clear, basically this meeting between several members of Congress and the Inspector General, this is the same Inspector General who David Grush says he went to and gave information to. And David Grush has said that there's additional information he hasn't said publicly that the Inspector General knows about. So that's the big point, right? Like, will we get to find out that information?
Well, I don't think we will. I mean, I think there's absolutely no chance at all that we're going to be told anything about this, Brian, unfortunately. I think there are people in the Defence Department and the intelligence community who are determined to keep this secret for as long as possible. And the interesting thing, though, that we have is that we know that the members of the House Oversight Committee are normally not able to be read in to these kinds of information because they're specifically kept within the intelligence committees. So I think there's a real question mark as to whether there's been a temporary read-in for the committee members, whether they are going to be getting an opportunity to get specific information, or whether because of the constraints on compartmented secrets inside the defence community, they're only going to be able to be given very general information. I fear it's going to be the latter.
Kind of a long clip, but that's interesting that we have secret meetings happening in the United States, all unclassified information, and I believe we're told that's going to happen. That was going to happen, and it has been happening. And so all these secret meetings are leading up to something very big that's happening, and everyone knows what that is. And I've seen it in the chat. It's the externalization of the hierarchy. We talked a little bit about last week about how this whole thing is coming to pass, this big deception. It's all laid out in the Bible. And we outlined those verses at the beginning of the broadcast. If you haven't seen that broadcast, you need to go back to the previous week. Actually, it was actually a few days ago. I think we did it on Thursday, an unusual night. And so if you want to see that, go back and watch that one. We have one more news clip tonight, and I think this is really telling, because this is exactly what people are thinking right now. Watch this.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. And Michael, there are so many people who could be your 2023 hero. Why Grush?
Nobody certainly had the impact on me personally this year. It was an extraordinary thing that he did. Not only the claims that he made, but also the process by which he made them. And the claims that he's made are, as you said in your introduction, earth-shattering. If even some of them prove to be true, it rewrites our history of this planet and who we are on it. And if they prove to be false, there's another amazing story waiting to be told about either how this guy fooled everybody, including the Inspector General, and if he believes he's telling the truth, then what is going on in the labyrinths of our Pentagon that would make him believe this.
All right. I have auto. I don't know how that gets clicked on, but the auto update, auto next. So what did he say there? He just said that this is something right in the middle there. I don't know. I didn't see any red flags. I want to see some red flags. I'm going to go back and watch it, just this middle section again. Listen to what he says. This is amazing, because this is coming from one of the, I believe he is one of the writers for the news articles that we read. Watch this, just this one section here.
It rewrites our history of this planet and who we are on it. And if they prove...
So it rewrites the history of our planet and who we are on it. Does it? Does it? I don't think it does. I don't think it does at all. And I think that's what everyone thinks is going to happen. In fact, we're actually told that nothing changes. Let me show you this real quick. This is fascinating. James 1:17 says, "Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning." There's also Hebrews 13:8 says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. Forever. And everyone in this chat should know this verse right here. It's Malachi 3:6. "For I am the Lord, I do not change. I am the Lord, I do not change." So can we be assured that our history changes as Christians? Do we know that history changes according to what we find out in history? Absolutely does not change. Nothing changes. Our eligibility and our ability to see the Creator someday, and our and And God being who he is does not change. Everything he said does not change, and it will not change. So I encourage everybody to think hard about that. You know, if you're just watching this for the first time and you're going, "What is this about?" This is a broadcast we do weekly called Strange Normal, and we talk about these things from a biblical standpoint and understand what is going on here. If you haven't seen Starfall, go to starfallmovie.com and watch that, because that's going to give a synopsis. It's going to have everything you need to understand what we are talking about here, because we talk about this spiritualism, this UFO stuff, aliens from a biblical standpoint, because it's all in the Bible. And you're going to want to hit that subscribe button so you know exactly what's coming down the pipe, because we know more than your average UFO channel. I guarantee it. And you're going to learn so much more than those guys who ask questions and have no answers. So let's continue to get straight into it. We're going to go right into the Miami debacle real quick. Let me see if I can play it without playing it so I can cue it up here. Really interesting stuff. And I love people are just having writing pages in the chat here. I can't watch everything, but watch this, guys. This is absolutely crazy, and I apologize. I don't know Spanish, so I don't know what this guy is saying, but he has some really good B-roll from his balcony of his, actually we called it the lanai, where I used to live, of his condo. Watch this.
Esta es una llamada a todas las unidades de la ciudad de Miami.
Look at all those cops.
Esto es en Bayside ahora.
All right, that's a lot of sirens. I'm tired of that. It's like, why did everybody turn on their sirens at the same time? And then just leave their car parked there. Why are 7,000 cops at this mall for no apparent reason? What is going on here? It seems kind of mysterious, right? So something came out on social media just this last week. Actually, while we were doing the New Year's broadcast, while that was happening, this was happening on the news, and shortly after that, we had people get on TikTok and social media, and they started posting things like this.
All right, y'all. The gentleman in the video that follows claims he was at the Miami incident. He explains what took place when he was there.
I was down in Miami for the New Year's. You know what I'm saying? Me and my girl, I got a little timeshare. We was down there on like a mini vacay, you know, just to start the New Year's off right. So anyway, we happened to be at that mall. So we had Foot Locker or whatever. Next thing you know, you start hearing all this commotion outside, sound like firecrackers or something. So, you know what I'm saying? I grab her close. I'm like, yo, we about to get up out of here, because I originally thought that they were shooting. You know what I'm saying? I thought, some type of gunfight had broke out, whatever the case is, because we're not familiar with Miami, we're not familiar with the city. So I'm like, damn, I ain't even got my blick. So, you know what I'm saying? We about to swerve. Next thing I know, it's like crazy. Like, we just see all these people running, like, fat chicks, old ladies, like, I'm talking about moving. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, old people even move. I'm talking about moving. So, my girl, she like, what's going on? Like, fuck all that, we out. Like, I'm not gonna ask no questions. We just gonna follow the crowd. Next thing you know, real like gunshots start going off. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, we trying to follow the crowd, get out of here. I look back, no cap, yo. No cap, I look back, it looked like a big shadow, but it was solid at the same time, like a few shadows, but they were solid at the same time, and it almost looked like they was coming our direction, like they was chasing us, but they was disappearing and reappearing closer. So I'm like, yo, what? So we start really moving. Next thing you know, we start hearing more gunshots, like these dudes start firing at them. Get outside.
All right. So this guy is just telling a story, and I just realized I'm going to get caught because of the music and everything, and they're not going to like that at all. But what we're doing is we're talking about this. We're actually telling the truth about it right now. It's completely different from what he's actually telling, even though what he's saying is that there's shadow people. And he says he tried to pull his phone out, and all of a sudden it wasn't working. And all these other people are trying to get it, and he couldn't get it. In fact, everyone tried to get. Everyone was saying that they could. They were trying to get some footage, and they couldn't. And then this appeared online. Watch this.
All right, look. See, look, y'all thought I was playing. I know y'all see those lights. Look at them. Not the little ones because my little mirror thing scratched up. I know you see those right there, floating.
And we'll pause it right there. And so they, so all of a sudden there was apparently lights in the sky. So there's a mystery deepens, and this whole thing continues. So what's really happening here? Well, then they started pointing out things on the ground. Watch this. What is that? There's something on the ground. It's walking. And you see it in the center there. They're saying there's some kind of smoke thing walking on the ground, and they actually have evidence of it. So what is going on here?
January 2nd.
So this is an actual cop. He's gonna tell us a little bit more about what's going on here, and I think this is where it all breaks down. Watch this.
January 2nd, 2024, with the whole Bayside situation, y'all gotta be stopped. Y'all gotta stop believing these people on TikTok and social media and all. Man, y'all gotta be stopped. In regards to this Bayside incident, we did not respond because it was 9-foot, 10-foot creatures and all this other bullshit y'all got going on. Bro, I'm gonna make this short, sweet, and simple. There was no black ops helicopter circling around the entire mall or any of that shit. There's no creatures, no nothing. It was a bunch of juveniles.
All right, so it was a bunch of juveniles. I realized I didn't cut the language from a couple of these. I thought I did, but I guess not. So according to the actual cops, what was going on? A bunch of juveniles shooting fireworks at each other. Did it need 7,000? I'm being facetious here probably, but did it need that many cops? I don't think so. But check this out. So then I thought, you know what? I got to get the actual, what is actually happening here. Maybe we can go back to that guy's actual profile on TikTok and get some legitimate answers. Maybe it's in the comments. Maybe it's posted. I don't know. And then I found this. Whoops.
Go ahead.
Yo, listen. Yo, y'all gotta chill. Yo, this crazy. I never been to Miami in my life. I was dead trolling, yo. Y'all can't be that, y'all can't be that gullible, yo. I was dead ass trolling. I've never been to Miami. I'm not in danger. I'm chilling. Like, real, I mean, fuck it. Y'all wanna make me go viral? I don't give a fuck. But yo, listen, for real. I was trolling. I'm chilling. What's wrong with y'all? Shit crazy, yo. Y'all bugging.
So the internet went wild over this. I kid you not. There was like 80 posts on Reddit. There was all kinds of stuff posting, and people were reposting this. You saw that one guy. Look at this. He was in the corner of the screen, right? And that was over and over and over. What's happening here? What's happening here? Well, I tell you, the devil's going to use any means he can to forward this message out. And if it means he's going to use someone that's just trying to go viral, just being funny on TikTok, he's going to use that. Absolutely. And most of this stuff, you even see the UFOs video, the CGI someone made. Oh, look, Miami has the 3 typical, I mean, this is typical, the 3 UFOs going over the top of it. They're going to use that material to play on people's ideas and make them fanatical about this stuff. They don't have to even try. They don't even have to appear. They just make somebody do this stuff by, hey, you know, you should just go on TikTok and talk about some other aliens. After all, it's been in the news. Lies. Miracles. But they're lies. That's what the Bible says. We talked about that last time. So the Bible also says this. This is interesting. So the Bible says in Psalms 1:1, blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. In other words, come on, don't have friends that do these stupid things. Don't have friends that lie and just try to go viral on TikTok. Sometimes, and I'm not saying this is what this guy was doing. It looked like he was for real, just trying to pull a prank, just joking around, and all of a sudden he blew up, and he realized that, and he deleted the video. So mad props to him, I guess. But but the people that actually do this, they want to get a rise out of you. They make fake UFO videos and they put them out there, and there's so many of them. Sometimes it's hard to figure out what's true. And you see it if you peruse Reddit at all. You see all kinds of it. You see these 3 dots in the sky. They know what it looks like now, and so they try to make it happen so that they can get their channel to go viral. So you subscribe to them, and when they have 100,000 subscribers, boom, and then they'll push you with the latest gadget or advertisement or whatever it is, and then they'll make a lot of money off that. That's really what happens. You have these Facebook groups. If you're on Facebook, you've seen that one where it's like, say amen in this thing, otherwise you won't be invited to heaven, or some stupid thing like that. And everyone's like, amen, 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 amen. You know, they change the name of those groups. After they get enough people that subscribe to that stuff or like that post, they change that stuff. They change the name of the groups, and so now you're attached to some Lululemon or some handbag organization that sells you handbags or tool sets for men. That's what happens. So what is it? It's the love of money that's causing all this stuff. Most of it, anyway. And so what... Let me make sure I'm even broadcasting here still. Anybody hear me? Look at this. 1 Peter 5:8 says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeing who he can devour. Absolutely, he's seeing who he can devour. And so he's using that... anyone he can to try to persuade you to do whatever it takes to get this to get you off course. You want to look to the left or to the right of the straight and narrow? You will. There's plenty to look at, but keep your eyes fixed on Christ. So let's get into some real stuff now. Now that I've given you the bizarro and I've given you the social media chaos for the week, what is real? Well, I'm going to give you some real stuff now. This is where you start paying attention. Let me see how many live streamers we have. 238. What is going on here? It's like 50 more than we usually have. In the chat, if this is your first time, give me a number 1. And if this is not your first time, but you're here because of you want to know about this Miami thing, maybe that was in the title or something, and you happen to see it, give me a number 2. I'm very curious. And thank you for being here. This is a neat show, but we're going to really get into something neat right now. So hang around. Watch this. This is the pilot, or a pilot and ATSB of where his plane is, but we're also going to be looking at what they're saying between the tower and the actual plane. Listen to this. This is fascinating.
Go ahead. We've got a few aircraft who are going here. They're going around in circles, much higher altitude than us. Any idea what they are?
No, I do not.
Okay, strange. They'll probably be Delta 41.
Delta 41, standby. And Twilight 670, say the last part again?
Yeah, they look to be, much higher than we are. They're going around in circles, so maybe 3 aircraft or some sort of aircraft. Just wondering.
Yeah, Roger. Yeah, I don't know. You're not entering any military airspace or anything. I'm not sure.
Roger.
23 minutes later, another plane.
Go ahead.
Colors like Sabado.
670, Roger. I did report it. Do you have an estimate on the altitude?
They've got to be. From the angle I'm at, they've got to be at least 5,000 or 10,000 feet above us. They have to be. If you from even bigger than that.
Twilight 670, Roger. And are they just white lights?
They just keep going in circles. I was an F-18 pilot in the Marine Corps. I'm telling you, I've done many intercepts. I've never seen anything like this.
Never.
Twilight 670, Roger. Yeah, I was talking to the operational manager, and the only thing we could think of is satellites, but that I'm sure those aren't going to be spinning around.
Absolutely, they're not satellites. They're in a big orbital, just keep going around each other. And then 2 more came in, and then 1 came down from above them. They just keep circling.
Twilight 670, Roger. Yeah, like I said, I did report it. I wish I could offer you the answer now, but unfortunately can't. And radar service is terminated, and frequency change is approved now.
And Center American 6.
1 hour later.
Yeah, we see some bright lights now off to the north of us, well above the horizon. Gets real bright and then gets dim, and we've seen it about 5 or 6 different times in same general area, but in different spots. It's pretty weird stuff.
American 6, Roger. And you said that was to the north of you, and how long was it happening? Because I think that's probably the same thing that other aircraft was seeing.
Yeah, it's happening basically continuously, but maybe 10 seconds apart. Just different bright lights that come on, get bright, and then go dim.
American 6, Roger. Thank you. I'll report that because they were asking up higher if I had any more reports. So thanks.
You're welcome.
Los Angeles Summer Operation, Johnny.
It's me.
Oh, no.
I have another guy reporting them.
Really? Okay.
American 6.
American 6. Is it off his right or left?
He said it's to the north of him. He's probably 25 west of Catalina right now. I asked him when he checked on over Edsel if they saw anything to let me know.
Okay.
And he said that it's continuous and the lights are getting brighter and dimmer.
Continuous, dimming. Okay, and then did he say about 5 as well? 7, whatever?
Yeah, he said it was multiple. He didn't know how many.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so there you go. You got pilots even seeing it right now. You got military seeing it right now, and you've got all this stuff happening. What did they say? They got lights in the sky spinning around each other. Lights in the sky. Well, of course you would think, well, that must be stars, except they're moving, right? What did we say? The Bible said a long time ago that these things look like. Who has a verse that can tell me what these things look like according to the Bible? This is the most fascinating thing to me. Revelation 12 actually outlines this, and it's perfect because it's the end. I'm just going to read a couple verses in here. It says, "And another sign appeared in the heaven. Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 diadems on his head. His tail drew 1/3 of the stars of the heaven and threw them to the earth." What happened? 1/3 of the stars of the heaven came to the earth. What are these stars? 1/3 of the stars of the heaven to the earth. "And the dragon stood before the woman who was about ready to give birth and devoured the child as soon as it was born." If you have no idea what I'm talking about right now, you need to go to the website revelationmystery.org, revelationmystery.org. It goes over this exact verse, and it tells you exactly what's going on here. But all you need to know for this broadcast is that the stars of heaven talk about the angels of heaven, the seraphim, the cherubim. These 2 beings had a fight over whether or not they could be righteous in and of themselves, or the others said, no, I think we need to follow God. God says, yes, you do need to follow God, because otherwise, if everyone did what they want, you would be disorganized, you would be a mess, and you would decide for yourself what was righteous. There needs to be a leadership. So what else happened in this? Watch this. "She bore a male child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron, and her child was caught up to God and his throne. And then the woman fled into the wilderness, where she has a place prepared by God, and they should feed her there 1,000 1,260 days. Now, this is called the 1,260-day prophecy. This is an interesting one because it actually tells a lot about what the history of Christianity is. And it outlines the whole thing, but I'm not going to tell you the whole thing because that's beyond the scope of this broadcast. You need to go to revelationmystery.org, revelationmystery.com, .org.com, something like that. So it's an orange, yellow, and black website. Has a video on it that you watch, maybe an hour or two, and it really outlines this really well. But long and the short of it is, a third of the angels came out of heaven and were flung to earth or sent to earth, because earth is the place that we allowed them to come, because Eve ate the fruit and said, yeah, sure, I believe I don't have to listen to God. So what else happened here? Well, Isaiah says, in Isaiah 13-14, it says, you have said in your heart, I will ascend into the heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, I will sit on the mount of the congregation. Now this is what God says, I know what you're thinking, Lucifer, I know what you're thinking, Satan, the devil, and you think that you are going to be God. You will sit above the stars of God. The stars are called the angels of God. And I think it's interesting that we see these stars in heaven right now. These things, I don't know how it works. When I was talking to a dear friend of mine, pastor of my former church, Doug Batchelor, he said, and one thing I thought was very interesting in that interview, which is on this channel, he says, I don't know if they have a bubble that surrounds them or what. He was speaking of this round orb-like thing, but it glows and it's bright and it continues. What is going on here? But it looks like a star in the sky, and that's what we see. And it's brilliant. It's beautiful. And so and these things can change into anything they want. So that's what's fascinating about this whole thing. And that's what I think everyone should pay attention to. That's not the end of it, though. We have other things, real things that people are seeing right up there. In fact, LA Flights, this YouTube channel who watches flights as they come in from LA, caught this. Watch this. This is interesting.
Absolutely amazing.
That's insane, Peter.
So the F-35s are enforcing a presidential TFR over Los Angeles, over LAX.
All right, pause it right there just for a second. What's going on here? Well, there was the presidential plane was in here, right? And they are refueling these fighter jets. So they're enforcing, making sure there's no planes that are coming blow anything up while the president's in the way. So you can see there's a fighter jet up top on the left. You can see there's a fighter jet being refueled there while they're filming it. What else? Watch what happens next.
Give us a yes, give us a no. If you want to keep seeing this.
What was that?
It's
saw that?
Every few minutes.
We had something flying in the way.
Oh, really? I didn't see it.
I'm not too sure what it was.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, someone's going to have to watch the replay and see what that was.
Something. Hold on. What was that?
It was going in the opposite direction.
I'm going to have to see the replay.
Flying above.
Give us a yes, give us a no. If you want to keep seeing this, keep...
You see that? What is that speck right there? It looks like a star in the sky, except it's on the wing of the plane. Interesting, huh? These aren't craft. They are not machines up there. These are entities. These are living beings. They can decide what they want to do for themselves, and they are a part of Earth here. I am convinced of that. That's what the Bible says. And they are just now coming out and being more apparent, more appearing as this next phase of the deception ramps up. This is what's happening right now, and this has been decided hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Watch.
Seeing this. There we go. Do we have anyone?
Oh!
Yes!
What is that?
Oh, that's it. Hold on a minute.
That's one of the things.
Is that it? Is that one of the UAPs that we've been talking about?
I'm kind of scared of looking at this.
Hold on a minute, guys. This is one of the UAPs that we've been looking at. Is this
Zoom in?
You know, Peter, that doesn't look like... I'm not sure what that is.
Head fart.
Zoom in. Isn't it funny? We can never get a good picture of those things. I think one day it's going to happen. And I think we do actually, and that's going to be the day where I'm not going to cover that. I don't want everything to do with these things. Like the guy said, I'm kind of scared right now. And he should be. I mean, these things, they know exactly what they're doing. And they're revealing just a little bit of their information every single time. Now, one person that has actually figured out how to get a good video of this stuff, and I think it's interesting that our technology has come this far just in the time that this externalization of the hierarchy has happened. This guy's name is Courtney Brown. He's a, okay, well, I should say it this way. He is an American political scientist and parapsychologist. I don't even know what that is. Who is an associate professor in the political science department at Emory University. He is known for promoting the use of nonlinear mathematics in social scientific research and as a proponent of remote viewing for a form of extrasensory perception, they say. Remote viewing, all remote viewing is having injected into your mind what another entity is seeing. That's not, you're not floating away. There's no spirit thing inside you that kind of floats away and goes and sees what's going on around the nation. No, you're just like they can put visions into your head. They are going and saying, I'm sending back what I'm seeing and putting in your head, or I'm making something up and I'm putting in your head. That's a form of possession, essentially. That's exactly what is happening. According to occult writings, this whole remote viewing stuff is not really remote. It's not happening. You're not flying around somewhere. So what is Emory University? I had to look it up. Emory University is a private research university in Atlanta, Georgia. It's founded in 1836 by a Methodist Episcopal Church and named in honor of the Methodist Bishop John Emory. Its main campus is in a Druid Hills neighborhood. I can't make this stuff up. 3 miles from downtown Atlanta. Emory University has 9 academic divisions and enrolls nearly 16,000 students from the U.S. and over 100 foreign countries. Emory Healthcare is the largest healthcare system, blah, blah, blah. You get the idea. But Emory, so this professor, he has an interesting, he's going to tell you exactly how to view these things. And he said, which clip is first? Let me look at my notes so I'm getting this right, because I might give you something wrong here. The first clip I have for you is, let's see, did I lose it? I might have lost it. So he's going to talk about remote viewing first. We're going to see exactly what he's going to talk about. Then he's going to talk about what he's learned from the lore about this whole thing. And I'm going to call that this thing is, he's on point, almost. And I'm going to tell you where the almost is. Courtney Brown, remote viewing. This is a professor, and he's done a lot of study in this, and he's wrong. But he's an interesting cat, that's for sure. Watch this.
Site. We specialize in the subject of remote viewing, which we'll be talking about later in another interview. And the interest in me, I always had an interest in, since it's non-physical perception, in extraterrestrials and extraterrestrial ships and so on. But we always knew we'd have to get at some point to the point where we would be offering proof. Now remember, I'm a mathematician, so I don't use the word proof lightly. We'd have to use proof that give proof that the extraterrestrials actually exist. But we developed the remote viewing side because we didn't have a way to prove that they existed until 2022. 2022 came about where Panasonic came out with a new type of camera. We always used Panasonic cameras. We used the GH4, we used the GH5s, but then they came out with the GH6s. Now they were a little pricey, so we didn't buy it, but then something really strange happened.
All right, pause it right there just for a second. What really strange happened? We're going to find out. But what I think is the most strange thing is having all these people here tonight. We got a big live stream tonight. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you're your first time here, I want to hear from you. Hit that little one button, put it in the chat if you haven't already. And you're going to want to see what's happening next, because we have the information on what's happening next, and we have it from a totally different angle than you're used to from any other UAP, UFO channel. And you're going to want to keep track of this one, that's for sure. So watch what he says about this new GH6 camera, because now that you have 120 frames a second in 4K, with changing the way the optics are just a little bit, he says, things are becoming more apparent and we don't need the government to reveal this stuff. This blew my mind.
Somebody came to us who was an air traffic controller in some of the busiest and major airports in the United States, including the Washington International, the big airport in the most highly controlled airspace on the planet. And he came to us. It was a friendly thing, but there's some interesting things about it. He paid his own aircraft ticket to come to us.
You were based in Atlanta.
He came to Atlanta, and he was from Washington, D.C., because that's where he works. He has been a consultant also for the FAA. He's been he's published in leading aeronautical industry journals. He's a big shot. He's one of the most senior he's been one of the most senior air traffic controllers in the towers at the Washington airport. Now, he then came to us. He offered to come to us, and he came to us with everything, a complete package. He came to us with Excel spreadsheets, which had aeronautical data, all types of everything, the analysis of it, how you analyze distance, speed, size, everything. And then he came to us with recommendations for things he didn't even have. He said, what you need is a GH6 camera. He didn't even have one, but he knew we needed a GH6. And he knew that we needed to send it to a specific company called lifepixel.com, to have it converted. Once you take the filter off of the sensor, you have to put another filter on top of the lens. He knew all about that. He didn't have any of that, but he knew all about that. And to tune into the bandwidth that you want in the electromagnetic spectrum.
All right, I'm going to pause right there. This might be getting way too technical for some of you, but let me give you a breakdown of it real quick. Because I'm a computer science major in college when I was in college, and so it's very fascinating to me to see what's actually happening here. But basically, they got a fancy camera. Fancy camera technology got so great that you can get this big picture, lots of pixels at the same time, and then you can go really fast with the amount of pictures it's taking, 120 pictures per second. And he said, you take that filters out infrared off of it, and it lets different light from the light spectrum in and hits the camera, and the camera can see that the eye can't. And you put another filter on the top that cancels out all the normal light that comes in, and you're seeing mostly just infrared light. He said after that, suddenly you can see all kinds of stuff up there. And he was seeing all kinds of stuff. Now, I hesitate to think that this is really how you can see angelic entities. I hesitate on that. This is why. Because I believe that absolutely we have guardians around us. And if all I had to do was take the camera lens off and put a different one on, then I would be astonished to see something very near me, protecting me. We don't know the whole story. Maybe it's not always right there protecting us. Maybe it's just in the vicinity. I don't know. But what I think is fascinating is these things are appearing. And they're allowed to appear. And we know that this is fact, that this guy is seeing this because he's talking about the infrared spectrum. Let me dig deeper into that real quick. The reason we know that's a legitimate claim is because since the end of World War II, the government said that they have been seeing these things only by new technology that they were using in their field, which was night vision. Night vision operates and enhances any light that comes into it. It's analog. It's not really digital. It's fancy technology that only needs one AA battery, and it allows lights in, bounces around, and amplifies it. And they said they can see things on the infrared spectrum on these things. There's still $3,000-$4,000 equipment even today that they weren't seeing before. And so that's how the government knew that these things were being seen. They were seeing in infrared. This guy comes along, professor, and says, I had a this guy from the airport say they see these things all the time on radar, and they were able to see them in person with consumer products by filtering out the regular light and putting it infrared. Interesting. Is this part of the deception? Or could we do this all along and we just didn't because we didn't have the technology to do it? We don't know. But if you're interested in listening more to what this guy says, he has an outline on his website about how to do this. I'm hesitant to do it because I'm not here to look for aliens, demons. I'm 100% convinced that they are demonic. And if you aren't convinced they are demonic, you need to go watch my top 20 video, which came out a couple videos ago. Top 20 reasons why UFOs and UAP are demonic. And it's got some really good information in there. And it's facts, 100% facts. You got to go see that. We've done a lot of research on this channel for the last 2 years or more. Let's dig a little further into what he's saying, and then let's go on to further find what he's mentioning here.
To get the exact infrared spectrum part that you want. And so then he showed us a lot of videos on our big screen in our own office. Standing up with a laser pointer and everything, showing the videos of these UFOs that were very clearly UFOs.
Mm-hmm. Now, by UFO, we're talking about unidentified flying object.
Physical things that were clearly as physical as could be. You could see the light reflecting off of them and things like that.
The term UFO does not necessarily imply that they are extraterrestrial spacecraft.
No, they were, and he was very clear about that. He's not saying where they came from, but these are the things people have been talking about forever, UFOs. And he said this is how you take pictures. And then he also talked about the frame rate issue because they go so fast. And he was telling us the speeds. And we said, what speeds? And he said, typically we're seeing them at 20,000 miles an hour. I said, what? That's 32,000 kilometers an hour. And we started on January 10th taking our first videos. I was sort of skeptical. Now his name is Lincoln Lounsbury, so he's not hiding who he is. Follow exactly what Lincoln said to do, step by step. Try to duplicate it. Now the thing about the GH6, why it was unusual, is you have to shoot wide angle because you can't see these things. They're going 20,000 miles an hour. So it could be the size of the Titanic. You're not going to see it if it's 20,000 miles an hour. So we shot it at 120 frames a second, and we followed the other sort of recommendations that he did. And then I took the footage, I shot for 10 minutes. And I was sort of skeptical. I said, hey, how's this going to work?
Over your house in Atlanta, as I recall.
Yes, at my house, on the deck in my house in Atlanta. And it's actually the town of Decatur, which is just outside of Atlanta. And we just shot for 10 minutes, and I wasn't expecting anything, because how often do you... I've been chasing UFOs with remote viewing forever, and...
Yeah, what are the odds that in a random 10-minute period, in the view of a camera pointed upward at the sky, you're going to get a UFO? It seemed to be pretty rare.
All right, so he goes on, he talks and talks and talks about it, but basically he did. He kept some pretty wild stuff, and he has that on his social media. I'd show it to you, but it's kind of faint. It's hard to see, but I think he's going to catch a lot of other things. I played with the idea. We live. I can see a nuclear reactor in my area from my property. I played with the idea of just kind of, putting the camera over there and seeing if I can see anything, since I don't live there yet, and I don't have any trouble with that. But I don't think I want to try to find these things. I don't care for them. So it is fascinating, though, that this guy actually is able to see things. Now, think about this, though. A lot of people that dive into this, they see these things more often because they appear more often to these people. Is this just allowing them to see it? Or is he actually seeing everything else that's normally wouldn't be seen? We don't know. We don't know. We don't care sometimes, but it is interesting. What else did he say about this? So he went on another podcast. He went on Chris Leto, who is a former fighter pilot podcast. And he said through his remote viewing, he has understood exactly what is going on here with all these UAP thing. Now, obviously what he's going to collect from remote viewing from allowing things to put things into his head is the lore, the deception. But we can deduce exactly what he's talking about here through understanding what the Bible says and understanding what's actually going on. And I'm going to explain all that in a second, but let's hear what he has to say. This is another long clip. I'll kind of space it out. Here we go.
So based on all this work, have you developed any new theories or hypotheses about the nature of the phenomenon or about remote viewing?
Yes, we know the whole thing now.
You do?
And what we're trying to do is convince the rest of the world that what we have discovered is in fact correct.
Okay, what is it? What have you discovered?
It's as above, so below. There are two general groupings of ETs, extraterrestrials, and we call them the good guys and the bad guys. Now, don't think in terms of genetic things like the grays or whatever. They got grays on both sides, and they got other different types on both sides, but there are two different types, the good guys and the bad guys. On this planet, the bad guys dominate by far. They have written, signed agreements with the United States government and a few other governments to allow them to conduct experiments and do operations here in exchange for help with technology associated with the craft retrieval program that the U.S. government, for example, has been doing.
Okay, so that seems a little far-fetched, right? I mean, if you were just coming to this channel for the first time, you'd be like, what on earth are they talking about? These guys are crazy. What recently has happened, and to get everyone caught up and everything, is David Grutch, never can say his name right, has come out and he's said this in Congress, and the Congress has said, hey, look, you're going to swear an oath. And he said, we have machines that we have collected, and I have deposed 40 individuals, and they all say that absolutely they have firsthand knowledge of machines that have been gifted to us. On this channel, we found a clip of one of the UFO researchers saying that these things are not crashed. They are gifts, and they have just been placed there. The military finds them after something tells them, and they use this technology to reverse engineer. That is bizarre. We have no proof of that yet, but that's what's being said under oath in Congress right now. So either it's a huge deception that's happening for some reason, or we're going into the part of the deception which the Bible calls a great deception. We see that through the snake. The snake was a visual and audible deception. We know that in Egypt, Satan was able to reproduce some of those things physically, and I believe what he's done here is reproduce some amazing things. And we're going to see those amazing things, and this is going to be part of the big deception. So, do you think that we have actually made deals with the government? That's what David Grutch says. He says, well, I can't say, but I would like to know more about this too. That reveals a lot to me. And I think that's an interesting thing to say under oath. Again, either deception or something much bigger is happening here. And we're in for a wild ride because everyone's going to think this is completely changing history. It's not. It's not. This is part of it. This is part of the whole thing, and it doesn't change Christianity whatsoever. So, what is he saying here? Well, he's saying that these demonic entities have come and said, hey, we're from a long distance away, just like Morneau says, and we want to provide you with stuff as long as we can do experiments on these things. They don't care about doing experiments on us. They wanted to give us war technology so we'd kill ourselves. So we've got this technology. The military has this technology. Let's go with this idea for a second and put away any ideas that, oh, maybe it's not true. We have these technology. We've hit it. It's helped us in war. It's helped us be number one. It's helped us in patenting. It's helped us be the country that all the stuff comes from. Amazing. All this technology has come so fast. What does the Bible say? Knowledge will increase. And what has it been used for? Nuclear weapons? Fighting wars? Some say the IR, what's it called? Night vision came from this technology. Wars, I mean, it's all military. So obviously the military wants to keep possession of it. What else is happening here? Well, let's find out. Watch this.
Now, this is not in dispute among anyone who's serious. For example, Chaim Ashed, the former head of the Israeli Space Directorate for 30 years. Chaim Ashed. Now, he's like the Israeli equivalent of NASA. He has stated point blank that the U.S. has signed agreements with the U.S. government. The extraterrestrials have these signed agreements. And part of the agreements is secrecy is an absolute must. They don't want anyone knowing that they're real. That's why this disclosure problem is hitting such a hard wall. It's not just that the U.S. government, has secrets that it wants to keep. They've got written agreements, and those ETs are actually helping with some weapon stuff and other things. And if you doubt that, just Google Chaim Ashed and UFOs and stuff. You'll see it. Now, he didn't try to make it public. He gave this interview where he talked about all this stuff in Hebrew, in a Hebrew publication. He thought it would be small because of that. But it turned out that a whole bunch of people know Hebrew. It immediately got translated into all sorts of languages. Anyway, the blankety blank hit the fan, so to speak. But nonetheless, he said it. So what basically it is, on this planet, the bad ETs have got all of the political leadership in their pocket. They control everybody on the top. The good ETs, the ones that I will be blunt with, that we at Farsight work with, are completely shut out of the political leadership. Let me tell you point blank. We have no access to the political leadership. The good guys, they don't. But the good ETs are dominant in the solar system. The bad ETs are dominant on the planet Earth. Meaning the good ETs have more presence, military and everything, in the solar system, but there's nothing they can do about it because of these written agreements that have been signed by the U.S. government. That's a voluntary thing. You see, the good ETs had this near fanatical adherence to the concept of free will.
Okay, so let me pause it right here. Isn't it interesting that he's presenting that these are two different entities that are dealing with Earth? There's the good ETs and the bad ETs. Taking it from a Christian perspective, there are two different entities dealing with Earth. They're angelic. A third of them are bad. And there's a whole lot more of them, 2/3 of them, that are very good. And so I think it's fascinating that he's presenting that information. But what he's going to say next, or pretty soon here, is going to reveal a lot. Because what we've deduced from research for the last couple of years here is that the bad ETs, to use their language, are playing both sides. They're pretending to be the good guys while also pretending to be the bad guys. Well, they are the bad guys. And so, as he's reciting this, it sounds like, well, it must be the good ETs must be angels. It's not. No, because what he's going to say next about Hollywood. Wait until you see this.
And if the humans, by free will, decide to be slaves, that's nothing they can do about it. A slave has free will too, and if they want to be a slave, that's okay. The good ETs have been trying to change things a lot, but they were totally closed out, and still to this day are totally closed out of the political leadership. But they have won the hearts and minds of the public, of the masses. What they've been doing, one of the things they've been doing, is they've been slipping ideas into the dreams of scriptwriters, for example, out of Hollywood, so that when the scriptwriter wakes up in the morning, they says, I've got this great idea for a new idea. And then a new movie comes out. Now, the good ETs believe in free will, so they can't force the person to have a new show or a new movie or whatever, but they can slip the idea in, and then the person thinks it's his or her own idea. And then we have Star Trek, Star Wars, we have the Matrix movies, we have...
So wait a second. So what you're telling me is that the good angels made the Matrix? The good angels made Star Wars? Where's the red flags here, people? What's going on here? No, what we have is them playing both sides here. Oh, we're so good. We've been trying to communicate with you through the Matrix. We've been trying to communicate you through Star Wars. The good ones. Oh, it cracks me up. And so I think we're absolutely seeing, boom, you're gonna see these things appear and say, we have been trying to help you, but there's an international, interplanetary war, and it's part of the cosmos, and we need to help you. And if you don't do something our way, things are going to go very bad for you. But people, Isaiah talks about how at the very end we will learn righteousness. People will learn righteousness. That's what Isaiah says. This whole thing comes to a front. People will understand this stuff, but you have to understand it now, otherwise it'll be too late. So, what do we need to understand? Well, we understand that the whole duty of man, what the Bible says, the whole duty of man is to keep the commandments of God and have faith in Jesus. Keep the commandments of God doesn't mean works-based scenario. It means that you trust Jesus to help you on your walk. And by justification, you're covered by Christ's righteousness. And sanctification, by that righteousness and looking to him and following him, you can be that person and be changed while you're still alive. That is possible, to live righteous life. Yes, you can look at John at the end of just before Revelation. It's an amazing thing. In fact, all in the Old Testament, many of the authors were called righteous. So it's fascinating to look through this and go, at the end of time, after the latter rain, there will be a time when the 144,000 saints are found righteous and they don't see death. Even though the wages of sin is death. They don't see death. They're translated in the blink of an eye. Fascinating, huh? Wouldn't you want to be a part of that group? I do. And so we won't be have any trouble with this UFO stuff, this ET stuff, if we continue to follow Christ. Look at him every day. That's all you got to do. And so let's continue to hear what he has to say about these good ETs teaching us through the Matrix, shall we?
When the whole bunch of the news, all the news, science shows that have come out, so that the populace, the public, becomes familiarized with the basic ideas that the bad ETs don't want anyone even to think about. So you've got that struggle. So that's why this disclosure process is so big right now. The masses are ready for it, and the elite are kicking and screaming. They have these written agreements, and the military is split. Let me tell you, this is the absolute fact. The military is split. I don't know what the exact percentages are, but let's say 50-50. 50% is following the original agreements. They like the fact they have working relationships with the bad ETs, but they consider it good because they're getting help with the reverse engineering some of the tech on the ships that have been crashed and so on like that. The good ETs don't offer that kind of stuff. They don't think we should be investing in military technology because the only thing we're going to do is shoot everybody with it. So the good ETs can invade, but if they did invade to kick the bad ETs out, they have the military power to do that. All of humanity would rise up and they'd see these good ETs coming in, and they wouldn't know they were good. They'd say, my gosh, we're being invaded. And so they would scream for the governments to defend themselves. So the bad ETs and the political leadership have the good ETs over a barrel. The good ETs have to get it to the point where the public demands that the disclosure process happen and that it becomes public, and that the political elite realign themselves from the bad ETs to the good ETs, because the public doesn't even know that there is a schism between the good ones and the bad ones.
Okay. I got like 3 more minutes of him talking that I cut out, and I thought it would be interesting, but he's lost his way by following this stuff. And this is what happens if you don't have the foundation and you don't understand truly what the great controversy is between the forces of good and evil. Then you will start to believe that this controversy, the whole thing, is run by these bad ETs, and there isn't a good ETs involved. He's not speaking it right. He's talking about good and bad, but they're run by the same right now. But I have to give it to him. There is a split in the in the bad angels. I mean, after all, even Christ says, if Satan is divided against himself, how can his kingdom stand? I say this because you claim that I drive out demons by Beelzebub. So what is Christ saying here? Well, he's saying that, if you go and do what you want, you have decided to be your own leader. You have no leader. I mean, you can claim that I claim this guy, I claim this guy, or this angel, or whatever, but not all will claim. They'll follow themselves. So his kingdom is divided. How can a kingdom divided stand? It can't. It can't stand. And so perhaps there is some schism amongst demonic entities. We don't know. We see through a glass darkly right now, but we do know that the only way off this planet and to actually sit inside that what does Star Trek call it? that place where you can make things happen. In other words, if you want to see the books of life, you want to read what has happened, what the true great controversy is all about, this true Star Wars, then now is the time to offer up yourself and say, I want to follow Christ. It's the beginning of the year. Now is the time to say, I'm going to wake up earlier. I'm going to do my worships. Hey, turn on the Bible in the car. Listen to it going down the road. Even if you don't think of yourself, I'm 100% as a Christian person, at least you gotta give it to yourself to at least read it once. Understand what it says so you too can have a say in what's going on. Because if you don't, you can't really talk about it. So now is the time. Now is the time to learn it. And if I have said anything here that has been of value to you, give me a like, give me a comment, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. Hit that bell icon. And if you really think that this is valuable and more people need to understand what the truth is behind this stuff before it really breaks on the world, which I truly believe it's going to happen here in just a couple of years, join us, our private community on Patreon. Patreon.com/strange normal. That's how you get into the Discord server, and there's about 100 of us. We all do this research all the time, and all this stuff that you've seen is just a fraction of what we've covered in the Discord this week, and there's much more to come because lots is happening, and they've guaranteed that this whole thing is going to break open here pretty soon, and there's so much more I could tell you, but we've already hit the minute mark where I need to end the presentation and talk to you guys. What is going on? I'm so happy to see different people here. This has been the biggest night, and I think I'm going to try to hit these hot topics. What is it? Miami aliens. Is that really what brought everyone in? That's neat. That's how YouTube works now, huh? Hitting hot topics. What are you guys up to tonight? Let me look at these chats and see if there's anybody here. 139 likes. That's fantastic. Sarah says. We have some merch too. If you want to check that out, our store. It's kind of funny merch. It talks about the angelic deception, like don't talk to aliens or it's demons. It's really funny. It's really a conversation starter. I actually was in the mall the other day and someone stopped and they were wearing something similar, and I almost stopped them and said, hey, but anyway, Peter, good to see you here. He says, hey brother Bradley, glad to make it live. Yeah, great to see people live. Let's see, Stephanie. Jesus kicked out the disobedient angels, so only good angels were left in heaven. We have to choose daily whom we serve. That's 100% true. We'll either live eternally with all good and no evil, or we'll be destroyed. Yes, 100%. Let me see. Travolt, I'm sorry. Yeah, I do remember seeing you quite a bit. I hope to see you again very soon. Let's see, sorry, didn't update. No, just talking to God. What else is going on, guys? It's all this stuff is really blowing my mind right now, and I think we're going to see these things undim themselves. They're going to be more visible in the sky because if you've seen that one episode where I talked about what started the channel, it was some occult writings that were transcribed through automatic writing. They said that you will be comforted by seeing our lights in the sky at the very end, or something like that. And I thought, no, that's not going to happen. Are you kidding me? We got to look further into this. But lots is happening now. Let's see. Has anyone seen a Revelation mystery? Go to revelationmystery.com. The Bride, the Beast, the Babylon. I'm actually in that. Did you know that? I am. If you go to the Waldensians, I'm the Waldensian standing up with a beard talking. So if you want to see a funny looking Brad on the screen, skip to the Waldensian part, which is about 3/4 of the way through, and you'll see me standing up in a cave talking to the other Christians. The Waldensians is a group of people that was trying to escape, I believe, the Catholic wrath, and they would go around and give tiny pieces of paper with scripture on it to people. So because it was illegal to own that back then, they would kill people. And but you need to go to revelationmystery.com. Revelation Mystery. Let me see if that website's still up. I might be telling you to go somewhere it's not even there yet. Let me see. I should do it on this computer. Revelationmystery.com. Sure enough, it's still there. The Bride, the Beast, and Babylon. This is a incredible documentary. It really puts everything in perspective about that one verse. It has some great stuff that comes out. Yeah, I'll just show you just the beginning of this if you haven't seen this already. Oh, cool. It's actually going to have audio. Oh, you can't hear it very well. So check this out. Skip it through here. They recreated this. This is John on the island of Patmos. And this is that verse that he sees that we were just talking about. He's going to see a dragon, a woman, he's writing this stuff down right now. This was cool to film.
Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet.
So right now the commentator is saying what the Bible says, a woman clothed in heaven with the moon under her feet and the stars above her head. So it was really neat to film this because we did this in the parking lot and we put a giant spotlight on her and hoisted her up on a crane.
And on her head a dark...
And put this wind into her, and it looks like she's just floating up there. It was amazing when you actually got the right shot.
Of 12 stars. Then, being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth. And another sign appeared. Behold, a great fiery red dragon. And the dragon stood before the woman who was ready to give birth, to devour her child as soon as it was
born. All right, that's enough. You have to go see it. We go into commentary after that. But it was a fun little put together, that's for sure. If you haven't seen that, it's revelationmystery.com. It'll take you to the YouTube video. You can watch it over there. Let's see what else we got here. Was John left-handed? I don't remember. Revelation 12 sign. This sign was fulfilled. Was John thought it was CGI? No, it wasn't CGI. It wasn't CGI. Basketball. Total Onslaught. Absolute Lucid. This was 9 situations. I'm missing part of the conversation. You guys are just having a conversation by yourself. I should just let you guys go. This is it. This is the end of this episode. I appreciate y'all, and I will have something again next week. Don't know if we're gonna have Fireside Thursday. Matthew's been sick. I'm not sure what's going on with him, so I'm gonna give him a call and see how he's doing. Poor guy, and pray for him. He's a good guy, and he's been hit with something pretty fierce. So something's going around. However, how many have you others been sick? My wife got pretty sick, and fortunately, I escaped it somehow. I ate an apple a day, maybe. I don't know, but any other people got sick while I was this holiday season? I'm sure. Yep. Yeah, something's going around for sure. Cool. Very good. Well, this has been it, and I appreciate y'all. And it's gonna be a wild ride as we continue this weekly broadcast, looking at the differences and what is going on here and how things are happening. And you're gonna want to continue to follow this. So make sure you have subscribed. Hit that bell icon, and we'll talk to you very soon, as usual. My name is Bradley, and this has been pure strangeness and absolute normalcy. Strange Normal. See you again.
You're watching Strange Normal. The truth is the truth.